Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do a walk cycle with Monty. Right, so I brought Monty in. He'll come in looking like this. I've got my layout on, with the side view and the perspective and the graph editor. Presently, we can see lots of bits and pieces in this. Like you can see IK handles and bones, which are these things here. I don't really want to see any of that, so I'm going to go to show, make it none. Then I'm going to go back to this and just make it polygons, which is his body surface, and NURBS curves. And I'll do the same for this, show, none, and I'll make it NURBS curves and polygons. So there you go. Right. Then I'm just going to do the usual housekeeping. So I'm going to go to the project window, make a new project, and I'll call this, I'll save it in the G and I'll call it Monty Walk, and then I'm just going to accept, and then I'm going to go to File, Set Project, and in the G I'll go down to Monty Walk, set. Okay, so I've got the first. Now I'm going to be using this walk here for and I think I showed you in the videos that you can use video reference. It's perfectly good, but just to keep it very simple, I'm just going to be using this reference from Richard Williams. Now you'll see it doesn't look like Monty, it's actually a guy walking, but Monty essentially is just a waist walking up and down. And I'll show you what to do with the deformations on the head as well. Right. So, well, the first thing I have to do is I realize that if I look at my viewports, orthographic, I've got front, which looks like this. I've got the side that looks like this, and I've got perspective looks like this. Now, I'm going to do it from the same side as he has. I want him right walking from left to right. So I have to go panels, orthographic, and you see there's one that says new. I'm going to go left, which is going to switch him around. Yeah. Now, if you want to see the orthographic cameras, you can actually show them. If you go into show here and press on cameras, it won't show them. You have to go into here. It says display, show, and you have to go to cameras. And if you do that, you'll be able to see the orthographic cameras. And you can see that we have, this is the front, this is the side, and this is the new one I've made, the other side. Okay, so I'm going to turn those off just by going display, hide, and then I'm going to cameras. I'll hide them. Okay, so if the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the frame range correct. This is 25 frames. So the first frame is 1, and by the time this frame comes back, it's the same leg hitting there as hitting there. It's 25. So I'll go to 25. Put it in this column here. 25. That's the frame range. Let's make that sure that's both of them are 25. 25. First and last frame. In terms of the other settings and preferences, I have my animation set on auto, which is fine. I have my time slider, if I can find it. Where's my time slider? Settings. Time slider. 24 times 1. So these are okay. So we'll stick with these. Right. So the first thing I'm going to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the controls in this, because this is an easier thing to pick them in. And I'm going to move. Now, the funny thing about Monty is he actually comes in kind of flat footed with his feet pointing this way. I'm going to change that. I mean, I may end up twisting his feet, but in the meantime, when I'm doing this, when I'm getting the cycle working, you see there's a rotation. This should all be zeroed out. You see this rotation here in the Y? I'll make sure that's 0. And I'm going to make this 0 as well. I don't want a flat-footed character. I mean, he looks a bit weird now, but for the purposes of the walk, this is what we're going to do. Now, I'm also going to take this animation off. I don't know what it is, but there shouldn't be any animation to start with. Okay, so here's Monty about to start. Now in order to do this, if you followed on from other tutorials, often what they get you to do is animate both feet. So you know you'd have one foot here, and then you'd have the other foot here, something like this, with the other foot coming like this, and you might have this foot like that. Yeah, we've seen this, and this foot like total like this, etc., etc. This is one way of getting Monty. I'm just gonna undo all that, of getting Monty to walk, but it's not the way that we're going to be doing it in this video. I think this way, one of the benefits of doing it this way, it's a way that you animate four-legged characters, is that one, you don't get any foot sliding, which is a common problem when you're animating walk cycles, that the feet go at slightly different rates. And also I think it's a very straightforward, quite intuitive way to do it, because you do, basically we're going to animate just this foot, and when this foot is working, when we've got this foot animated and working the way we want, then we're going to cut and paste it onto this and slip the animation, so the animation will be identical on both feet. And the only other thing we're going to animate is this, the body control, which is largely going to be going up and down. So we're going to animate him walking on the spot, and then I'll show how we get Monty to move. So without further ado, let's start animating. Okay, so always a good idea before you start animating is to have a look at the rig, see what does what. Often, this rig's quite good because it only has a few controls, but if you have rigs with a lot of controls, sometimes you can end up animating different parts using different controls, or sorry, the same part. Like you might use a different control to get the same effect as you have done before with another control. It's always good to try and be consistent. Try and use controls consistently. Pick a few that you're going to need and use, and try and consistently use those, because if the animation becomes, difficult or problematic later on down the line, at least then you will know what system you've used for animating it. Okay, so starting off, first of all, I'm going to look at the first frame. We're going to start at frame number 1. Okay, now I almost always start with a contact position on a walk. So this is when the foot has touched the ground, is coming down to touching the ground. So here the contact position, if I grab it, is looking like this. Now if I look at it again, the foot's kind of coming out like this. Let's see, I'll go back to this drawing. It's quite straight. I'll make the foot a little bit straighter. Now there's different ways of making it straight. I can raise the body slightly, so maybe slightly straight, and then I'm going to use, so I'm going to key that there in frame number 1, and then I'm going to use this control here, which is also inside the foot control. You have the translation and rotation, so I've keyed all of them. When you press S, you key all the controls. So when I press S here and press S, I'm keying everything. Or if I go up to on the animation menu, if I go key, set key, I key everything, all these controls, which is fine. Now I'm just going to take the heel roll and I'm going to pull this up slightly, so it looks like this, and then I'm just going to pull it a little bit further so it straightens the foot out a bit. Yeah, so maybe like this. Yeah, so that'll be the first one, right? So I'll press S. Now this is going to be the same on frame 25. Essentially, look here and here, we have the same thing. So that means I am going to copy this, go to frame 25. So by the way, remember, I left click on the frame, right click to get copy, go to the next frame, 25, to the last frame, sorry, 25, right click to get the menu again, and then press paste, and there we go, same frame, right? So these are the two, if you like, extremes. Sorry, it's the full cycle. Now the other extreme is when this foot is at its furthest back position when it's still contacting the ground, which is the same moment, generally speaking, when this foot is touching. Okay, so now I'm going to take this and I'm going to move this backwards. Now the thing we're going to have to do, so I'm going to move it back like this. Now you notice the heel is still up, which I don't want. Remember, I need to take the heel roll off. Yeah? I want this to go like that. So this can be Monty when it's fully back. Yeah? So then, I'm sorry, I should say, I've got this on auto key. I'm just going to go back a bit because of course I realized, where do I need to put this? I've got this, the first and the last. This key, where it's furthest back, is frame 13. So I'm going to go to 13 on the diagram and I'm going to pull this back, yeah? And I'm going to take the heel roll off so it's 0 and pull this back, yeah? Like so. So what we then have is this. Now this doesn't look very natural. And part of the reason is this heel roll, it's really only going to be there, if you look at this again, so it comes like this. It's going to be there for maybe a couple of frames. You know, it's going to be up in the air for a couple of frames. By frame 4, it's really planted on the ground. So if I go to the heel roll here in my editor, I'm just going to press F. Presently I have this gradually going down, and then it's off in 13, which isn't what I want. I really want this on the ground by frame 3. So I'm going to press S, and I'm just going to bring this up, frame 3. So by frame 3, this is down, and then it's back again, yeah? So we've got this, like so, yeah? Down and back. And I'm going to do this at the other end as well. So I'm going to go to 25. I'm going to make sure this is well and truly off, and I can do it here in the channel box as well, just 0. Maybe it's even easier. So we have it here and this. So this is the start for, yeah, the feet. It's like a foot sliding backwards and forwards. Now this, of course, is not what the foot does. The foot doesn't slide. It slides back to 13, but after 13 it's coming off the ground and into the air. Now I'm going to go back to this so we can see this. So 13, basically where I'd like to go now is the passing position. Now this foot here, the white leg if you like, is on the ground, on the ground, on the ground until 13. It's probably still on the ground a few frames after this. You know, on a slow walk, what happens is your foot will still be on the ground for a bit, bending as the ankle kind of, as it, you know, the bottom of the leg bends, and then it will be off the ground, certainly by 16 or 15. And then there's a passing position at 19. Well, I'm going to go to the passing position next. So it's on the ground till 13, maybe a couple of frames beyond it, but it's passing the leg at 19. So now I'm going to go to 19, and I'm going to lift this leg up, and I'm going to twist it here, and I'm also going to lift the body up. Now we haven't really animated the body yet. I'm going to lift the body up, yeah? Normally your body raises up on the passing position. So let's look at this. So we've got this so far. Now I'm going to go back to the destroying again. It shows, if you imagine that the height of the head reveals how much the body is going up and down. So on this diagram, and this is not set in stone, this is like a generic walk, the body, but we'll use it, the body kind of goes down